All right, I wanted to give you guys a couple of tips on what I do as far as meal prep that helps me kind of make this process a little more efficient. And so let's start with our protein. So first thing is I do use a lot of chicken breast, really for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I do feel like it's really cheap, right? You can get it for $2.50. It's at least under $3 a pound around here locally. Something I can get at a local grocery, Walmart, just about everywhere. But it's also a versatile thing, so you can add a lot of different seasonings to um, make it pretty much whatever you want. I do use either like a mixture of potatoes, or I use rice as my carb source, usually for my lunches. And then I'll do some type of a vegetable mix. So the mix that I have here is, as you can see, there's like cauliflower and broccoli, carrots, corn. Now, if I was in more of a prep and I was really trying to lean out, I would probably avoid the corn and the carrots and just go with, a green fibrous veggie. The broccoli and the cauliflower, those are excellent, actually excellent vegetables to go with. There's a lot of different nutrient benefits there. And then same with using, sweet potatoes. There's a lot of nutritional benefits there. So I kind of alternate. I'll do like rice one week, and then I'll do like sweet potatoes, red potatoes another week, just for a little bit of variety. And then the other thing to make it simple is I'll buy, some seasonings like this. So this one says tangy garlic. This one is roast vegetables and fries, so it's more of like a seasoned salt. These are under $5. We got these at like TJ Maxx Tuesday morning, so I'll use something like this. Now, again, though, if I am in prep, then I would probably use something a little bit different. This one doesn't have sugar, but the other one does have sugar in it. And so those are ways that sometimes when you add enough, it does add a little bit of sugars and calories and carbs and things to your diet. So just being kind of aware of that. Also, after you use something like this, you can look at the ingredients and say, like, this is garlic, orange powder, salt, parsley, lime powder, paprika, tomato flakes. There's a lot of those little things that you can kind of piece together and make your own seasonings. So anyway, that's already put together. And then the chicken, I'm going to use this applewood smoke seasoning. Same thing, it does have sugar in it, so there are some carbs. So if I was in prep, I wouldn't use this exact thing, but I might use some of the ingredients that are listed here. So the first ingredients: paprika, salt, cayenne, black pepper, granulated garlic, basil, there's your brown sugar. So I might use some of those other things to try to get a similar flavor. But since I'm not in prep, I'm going to use something like that. So my chicken, basically, if you have time, you can brine it ahead of time. That way you get some more flavor out of your chicken. And also it does, I feel like it gives it like a nice, juicier kind of a feel, it doesn't end up super, super dry. I didn't take the time to do that, honestly, but I'm going to put these on the smoker anyway. And so they typically come out pretty juicy. So I'm going to be pretty generous with that seasoning. And got it in this Tupperware here. This is for almost 5 pounds of chicken. So this will be good for my lunches. Typically right now, my breakfast is I do something with a lot of eggs, and then I'll add in a carb that's like, I might just use like some dry Cheerios. I do a lot of oatmeal, fruit. We do a lot of fruit as well. So there's our chicken. After that sits for a little bit, that's going to go on the smoker. The sweet potatoes, I'm going to slice those up. I'm going to throw in a little bit of olive oil. So I'm not in prep. So there's probably tablespoon and a half with some of those potatoes. And I'm going to cut up a lot more of those potatoes, but we're just going to toss those a little bit. I'm going to use the roast vegetable and fries, so it's almost like a seasoned salt. Kind of generous with that. This one doesn't have sugar in it. That one's just seasoning. So I'm going to sprinkle that on those potatoes. This is going to go in the air fryer. So this is where I can see where people might say things like eating healthy is really expensive, because definitely investing in things like an air fryer, pressure cooker, some of those things, that can be expensive. So what I do, it's lined with some foil. I'm going to toss those in there. And I typically have to split my batches. I'll have to do 2 different batches with those potatoes, but I'll do 2 different batches with that. And then again, the veggies. So veggies here, I did put in an extra bag of green beans, but I'll do olive oil. I'll do this seasoning. And then I'm going to put all my veggies in a Pyrex pan. That's going to go in the oven. So after about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, my lunches are already prepped. They're measured and they're already done. So a couple of things that are shortcuts I do feel like is, cutting down also on the amount of time that you're like cutting your vegetables and things. That obviously saves time. So I just slice. Like the red potatoes are super easy to just slice them and throw them in a container so that you can season them. Olive oil, put them in the air fryer. This goes on the smoker at the same time that that's going on. That takes about 40 minutes. And then the vegetables are going to go. I'm going to olive oil, season them. I'm going to throw them all inside that Pyrex and put them in the oven. And that takes 25, 30 minutes as well. And lunches are done. So if I was in prep and I was trying to be super lean, instead of using olive oil, I'd probably spray like the potatoes and the veggies with a little bit of Pam. I would still use some basic seasonings like salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cumin, cayenne pepper, things like that, thyme, basil, all those Italian seasonings. The other thing I want to mention is I have some bananas that are browned already, but instead of throwing these away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice them. I'm going to put them in a container like this. I'm going to put them in the freezer, and that way they stay ready, and I can put those in shakes. I can do like a protein shake along with a certain amount of the bananas or whatever for added fruit, and that's what I've been doing for a snack in the afternoon as well. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know.